Psalm 127, verses 1 and 2 in the New Jerusalem Bible. If Yahweh does not build a house, in vain do its builders toil. If Yahweh does not guard a city, in vain does its guards keep watch. In vain do you get up earlier and put off going to bed, sweating to make a living, since it is He who provides for His beloved as they sleep. Psalm 127 is a wisdom psalm. It's attributed to King Solomon, the wisest man to ever live. In this psalm, King Solomon sings of the importance of relying on God rather than overworking. Then he goes on to sing about the blessings of having children in the same song. Pastor Will Rose, why do you think this altar sings in parallel the need to rely on God and the blessings of children in this psalm?
When you first read that, I was thinking, I kind of went to the word vain. What's vain or not? Doing things in vain, and are you doing it just for yourself or for others? Is God a part of your work and toil? And I think family could be attached to that as well. As you're thinking about, why do I have a family? Is it just, I don't know. That could be in vain if it's all selfish. But like, how can God be a part of your family? How can God be a part of your work, part of your life, your relationships that you're entangled with, Joshua? And those are some of the things that come to mind when you read that. So yeah, I'm not quite sure I understand in terms of relying on God and the blessing of children, but I think it's talking about relationships and what you're in relationship with, whether it's your work, vocation, the people you work with, and your family as you have your partners and team together. Hopefully God's a part of that.
Yeah. I'm going to fill listeners in. Sometimes I write these questions as softballs because I'm like, oh, this would be a good way to start the episode because it's totally important for us. And then sometimes stuff like today happens, and it's a genuine question because I start looking into the psalm and I'm like, why did he do that? And I happen to be talking to my pastor, and I'm like, well, might as well ask him on the podcast. Why is this the thing? So you guys got to have an inside look at that. Hey guys, welcome to the Whole Church Podcast, possibly your favorite church unity podcast. It's totally cool if it's not, though. We're not in competition with other church unity podcasts because, once again, that's just self-defeatist. Like, what? Huh? Yeah, why would we do that? Yeah. But I am really excited for today's episode. I'm Joshua Knoll. I'm here with the co-host with the absolute most. I'm the one with the co-most. The absolute most goes to Pod Almighty, the one and only TJ Tiberius Juan Blackwell. Welcome to your show.
Thanks.
Yeah. And we're here with a return guest. I mentioned already, my pastor, dear friend, Pastor Will Rose. We're going to be talking about his upcoming sabbatical. Why it makes me sad, because I'm going to see his face slightly less and hear his voice less, unless he calls me. I don't know. But we're going to be talking about his sabbatical, how seasons of rest can help in our efforts to pursue greater church unity, and some other stuff around that. Yeah.
Some other stuff.
Yeah, stuff,
But if you don't know Will the Thrill from Chapel Hill Rose, he is the pastor of Holy Trinity Lutheran Church in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. He is also one of the hosts on Systematic Ecology. He hosts No Matter Matters. Big guy, busy guy. His homilies are available in podcast format as well on the show The Homily with Pastor Chill Will from Chapel Hill. Will is also the author of I Sure Am Gonna Miss That Guy, and is a good friend of ours, and a frequent return guest. So,
yeah. Thanks. I did the TJ.
You don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
Take those buttons from Josh.
I feel like I forgot to take my second dose of medicine. That's my introducing myself today for anyone listening.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
So, go to our website, purchase one of our t-shirts. It helps promote the show. It raises money for podcasting needs. It gets others to know about the importance of our mission to educate and unite the modern church. I have a favorite. I'm not quiet about it, at least not more quiet than everything else. It's the TJ quote on the back. It says nothing. It says nothing on the back. It's great. Super understated. Wonderful. Super comfy.
I promise to stop now.
Stop pressing them all.
Well, we never use them, you know.
You should check out the Honest Out Podcast Network website. The link is below for other shows like ours, and like all of Will's shows are on there.
Yeah, so far.
True story. True story.
Yeah, because he's my pastor. In any way that I can serve him, I will try to. And not because of any umbrella analogy, just because I love him, you know? Yeah. He's a good guy. And if you love him, the Honest Out Podcast website, down below in the show's description, you can buy all kinds of t-shirts for different stuff that Will's on, including the Your Matter stuff. The design's awesome. Our good friend Taylor Thomas did that. So support him, get the shirts, support Will. It's a good time. Yeah. Is it my turn? Also, I have a favorite form of unity. It's a holy sacrament we do here on the Whole Church Podcast. How else do you experience the divine if you're not being divinely silly? So, today, you can't be divided when you're being as silly as I like to be. We're going to be talking about something silly. I'm going to do a silly question. If you could choose either, this is a good one, to surf on lava, under the sea, on like undersea currents, or in the sky, which would you rather surf on? TJ and I will answer first. Give Will time to think about it, but I'm sure he's already thought of this, so I don't know why we're doing that. TJ, what are you going with?
This is really, really hard for me, because I think
if I would have said space, it would have been too easy, I think.
Maybe.
Instead of sky, yeah.
Surfing under the water sounds incredible, beautiful, and incredibly impractical.
Yeah.
I live pretty far away from the beach, so I'm going to choose in the sky, which would also be awesome, and then I would have to get a haircut, like Jim Hawkins from Treasure Planet. Just to really...
that's fair. I didn't realize I gave you such an easy Treasure Planet plug.
Yeah.
I think that surfing in the sky is probably the correct answer, or under the sea. I think those are actually the best options. But I've never seen lava, so I'm going to choose surfing on lava because I just really want to see lava. Like, I know that's stupid, but like, I just want to see it. I don't know.
There's not that much lava.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm going to see it. I mean, I'll probably be on like an island anyway, so when I'm done, I'll just hang out at the beach, I guess. I don't know.
Growing
but I'm going to go see some lava.
I thought lava was going to be like a way bigger problem.
Yeah, the amount of times I used it in like map building for Smash Bros, you really thought it'd be more prevalent, but here we are. Will, where are you surfing out of those three options?
Okay, golly, I got a lot to chime in here with. One, I want a new TJ Whole Church Podcast shirt that just on the back it says, I just thought there was going to be a lot more lava. And let that be out of context.
Yeah, the other TJ quote on the back.
The other TJ,
lava and quicksand.
Yeah, a lot more dangerous, but it's pretty rare. And then TJ name dropped one of my little tiny novella books that I sure am going to miss that guy. That is my Holy Week and Easter homily over a few years back over the pandemic. I plan over this sabbatical to write a book, finish a book called God as a Surfer. And so this is appropriate question for this particular episode and to talk about sabbaticals that all coming together. And it's like almost Joshua thought about it and put it all together on purpose. I don't know if that's the case or not, but
it actually was. I think I was on my medicine when I made the outline.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, after watching, I'm tempted to say Surf on Lava because man, that Fantastic Four movie, when we had the Silver Surfer going through space in the fire and surfing lava, and the way they drew it or put it together or filmed it or CGI'd it or AI'd it or whatever, I was like, somebody who put this together knows what surfing looks like. The way she grabbed the rail, did her turns, I was like, man, that looks really cool. But
it was really sick.
With one of my favorite beers being a cloud surfer, I think I'm gonna have to surf the clouds. I think I'm gonna have to surf the clouds and be in the sky and be like Superman and turn real sharp and go off the lip and do some big re-entries. Getting barreled and tubed inside a cloud would be just super rad. So there you go. There's my answer. Yeah. Cloud surfing.
I guess the question is, can you fly or
you need a board? I think you need a board.
I'm changing.
Yeah. So if you bail out,
I'm changing my answer though, because lava was cool until I knew I could hang out with Will and TJ at the same time in the sky surfing. So now I want to make it a group activity. So I want to be included.
And TJ, surfboards have leashes. You tie them to your ankle. So when you wipe out. Oh yeah, I mean, if you fall off your board in the ocean and your board goes away, you want to have that leash on so you can just pull it back to you. You don't have to swim all the way to shore. So when you're in the clouds, I think you don't want to lose your surfboard.
I don't know. I like swimming.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't like the leash.
Yeah, you got it.
Mm.
It is courteous and respectful to wear a leash, even no matter how good a surfer you think you are. You're going to wipe out, and you don't want your board hitting somebody else or a family that's swimming. So always wear your leash. That's my public service announcement today. TJ, wear your leash, or I'm going to turn you into the Wrightsville Beach Police and get fined.
That's a good one. Okay, I will now.
It'll be the only time any of us have been. It'll be the second time any of us have been reprimanded by Will Rose, and I don't think you want that.
Yeah.
First one was me for being too self-conscious about finding money, and I'm still being reprimanded over it. So
yeah, give you a hard time forever.
So, Will, you've been on the show plenty of times. We'll make a playlist with all of the Will episodes in the show description. We'll put that there. But for those who are less familiar with you and who you are, could you unpack your history in becoming a pastor and leading the congregation in Chapel Hill?
How much time I got? Okay, here we go. Raised Lutheran in Wilmington, North Carolina by Bill and Kay Rose, lifelong churchgoer, baptized as an infant in the Sacrament of Holy Baptism in the Lutheran Church. Born and raised, was kind of a punk kid. Made my Sunday school teachers cry because I was too restless and probably just cut up too much in class. But had a good, very patient pastors and youth directors and a nice core group of best friends that I'm still best friends with today, who went through Sunday school, youth group together, college, campus ministry, and working at a summer camp, Lutheran summer camp. I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I could be a pastor one day, even though getting up in front of people and talking every week, presenting a paper every week, people like freak me out. But went to seminary, enjoyed my time in seminary, and in ordained ministry I've been ordained since the year 2000. And so for 26 years, I've been an ordained minister in the Lutheran Church. I served a church in South Florida, Boca Raton, Florida, at Advent Lutheran, was youth pastor down there. Loved my youth and youth group down there in South Florida. Went back to Columbia, South Carolina for my wife to go back to school and get her doctorate in education. So served a campus ministry there. And then Christus Victor Lutheran Church, fantastic congregation, was there for 7 years. And then after Cindy wrapped up her dissertation, we moved to Chapel Hill, North Carolina since 2012. So I've been here for 14 years, coming up on my second sabbatical. You do the math. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So I'm coming up on my second sabbatical. Whoa. I'm not good at that. That was there you go. And yeah, been serving here for 14 years, and I love the congregation, love my contacts. My dad went to UNC, so I was born and raised Tar Heel fan. So being here on the doorstep of North Carolina, and when they fired Hubert Davis, that's what we were all saying. But I can understand why. When they lost the first round and blew that big lead. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about basketball. But that's my contacts for ministry. Been a Lutheran pastor, different areas. Been a parish pastor, 26 years. Some of those years were youth pastor. Some of them were camp counselor, taking kids to camps, all that stuff. So, yeah, there's my story.
Nice.
3 minutes.
Yeah. I just listening to what you said there, it's deeply important to me that if anyone with the last name McGrath is listening, we will dedicate all of the whole church budget for the whole summer to you. If you write a parody, listen, I know you guys can do parody songs. I want to hear a song about Will Rose that is ordained in the year 2000. Please.
In the year
Pretty
2000.
please. Ordained in the year 2000. And the pastors surfed on water. You could do something with it. I really think you could.
Y2K. We do Y2K pastor.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
What do you, Pastor Will, what do you know about the history of the sabbatical? I know a little bit, but not a ton. And why do some churches have sabbaticals for their pastors and others don't? Like, is it just denomination? Is it how much money the church has? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the whole church, capital C, but I know within my particular congregation and denomination that it's highly recommended that ministers who he or she are on call 24/7, 7 days a week. They get some vacation time, but you can't help that if someone dies or there's a tragedy or something happens, you need to be called back from vacation from your family. Cindy talks about the sabbaticals. My last sabbatical, my first one I ever had, 7 years ago. She talked about how just it was nice for a summer not have to share me with anybody. That I'm pulled in a lot of different directions, and I love it. I love that I don't have a 9 to 5, and that my schedule is flexible, but I am on call pretty much 24/7 with messages and thoughts and people needing things and whatever that may be, shepherding a congregation. So, yeah.
Real quick, curious. So when you're on your sabbatical, if I'm in your congregation, I'll use me as an example. If I drop down dead, do you still do the pastoral duties, or does that go to somebody else? Because it's like a personal thing. So I just was like, I don't know. Pastor's a weird job.
I don't. Yeah, please don't do that, Joshua, while I'm on sabbatical.
I'll try. I'll try.
Do your best. Do your best. Let me start. Remind me about that. TJ, remind me about that one, like what I would do if something happens because I don't know the full history of sabbaticals, but I do know in terms of the word sabbatical, Sabbath, practicing Sabbath, the seventh day, God rested, encourages God's people to rest so that you could have regenerative, life-giving, that you're not so tied to your work that you're working all the time, you get burnt out. So built into the fabric of creation is this idea of Sabbath and rest. And so that should be a practice, whether it's Sunday or another day. Have some time for yourself to read, reflect, catch your breath, literally rest, do a hobby, something that's not work related, vocational related, so that you're not so you don't burn out, and who knows, what that could look like. So I think built in the fabric of creation itself is this idea of Sabbath, weekly Sabbath. There's vacations, that kind of thing. Eventually, you get to sabbaticals, and I think it comes out of the academic world where professors and teachers are given sabbaticals so that they can continue their research, they can do continuing education, they can write a book. They're doing research, and so they want to write a book, and they're going to teach a class on it. So that gives them extra time, separate, intentional time to focus on a particular project that they are creating and doing. For pastors or those in the service industry, service world, a Sabbath is meant a chance to decompress, to have some separation. So yeah, there's continuing education, a part of it, reading, learning something new, doing a project, but also, every single week, what guides my week or dictates my week or runs my week is getting ready for a Sunday and presenting for worship, to leading worship, and not having a full weekend and not having a Sunday either the before or after kind of run every single one of my weeks, to decompress for that. The last time I had a sabbatical was really helpful, to kind of detach from that a little bit so that I have enough energy to go back to my present context, to be inspired and have more energy to keep going. Now, there is something within the kind of ministry world, kind of unsaid reality, is that you get this 7-year itch. You've been in a certain place 5, 6, 7 years. You take a new call because you've done all you could do in that particular congregation, or you're just kind of burnt out and you need a change. Some of the sabbatical or giving a sabbatical is so hey, Holy Trinity wants me to stay here. So, hey, instead of taking a new call so you can get some rest or something different or have some change in your life, to be inspired by something different, take a sabbatical, rest, read, take a vacation, reflect and pray what your call to ministry is, and then come back to us ready to inspire us again. So you don't go somewhere else or run off because you're burnt out. So that's part of that too. The North Carolina Synod of the ELCA that I'm a part of has a recommendation. It's recommended that pastors are given by their congregations a sabbatical every 7 years, a 3-month sabbatical every 7 years, so that those things can happen. And then I'm thankful that my congregation has a history of sabbaticals, because I think part of it is we are on the doorstep of University of North Carolina, so a lot of professors and doctors and people in the service industry around service vocations here in Chapel Hill near university are used to people going on sabbaticals and come back rest, recharged, and ready to teach again. And so the pastor before me had one and had a few. My campus pastor that I worked with for 10 years, Mark, he had a few, and then I had after being here 7 years. I've been in ordained ministry more than 7 years, but being here 7 years, I was given a sabbatical in 2019, right before the pandemic. That worked out great. Boy, I needed that rest right before, the beep hit the fan. And then, and so now I'm hoping that after this summer, a sabbatical, more crap doesn't hit the fan, or World War III doesn't break out, or Trump does another meme about something. But
I promise he will.
I know.
That's what I promise will happen.
Yeah. So that's part of the nature and the schedule and the policy of our particular congregation. Now, why some congregation would say no, I can understand if it's a smaller congregation, they can't afford it. You're the only person on staff. What are they going to do? Do you have the resources to grant your pastor and minister a sabbatical? But there are grants out there. There's Lilly grants. Duke has a grant. Our North Carolina Synod has a grant process that you can apply for and get extra money to help the congregation do what it's supposed to do, and have a minister, an interim minister in place to lead worship on Sunday and do the life stages of Mary and Barry and baptisms. Most of the time, you wait to do the wedding or baptism when the pastor gets back. 3 months goes by fast. But your question about like what happens if a big emergency, we're blessed that we have a large staff, and I have another pastor here with me, Katie, that if something emergency happened or something needed to be done, she's ready to spring into action. Now, if there's a major tragedy where a kid in our youth group, God forbid, died because of a drunk driver, and I would want to know about that. Would I come back and lead the funeral? Would I do those things? In terms of contract and agreement, I'd take the 3-month sabbatical. I'm not supposed to plug in. I'm not supposed to come back. I'm not supposed to do those things. Just like if you're on vacation, I guess. But I think there are, of course, exceptions to every rule. If there's a major tragedy, our church goes up in flames, a beloved church member, or even an inactive church member passes away, then I'll do pastoral care, and we'll think about what the funeral would look like and who oversees that. So, just like anything in life, you have interruptions and unexpected things happen that you have to adjust. But ideally, I'm going to say bye on May 18th, and they will not hear from me again until August 18th. And even my email will bounce back to you and say, he's on sabbatical. If it's emergency, contact Pastor Katie in the church office, and those kinds of things. So
you'll still text your friends though, right?
Well, is it work? Is the friendship work as a part of my vocation? There's some Venn diagram.
I just want to know what IPAs I can tolerate,
None of
them. Well, if you meet me on the sabbatical,
he gave me one. That was
if on sabbatical, we go to HeroCon in Charlotte and meet some of our favorite comic artists. That's not work. I can meet you there. We can hang out. I'll text you and make sure you know. Yeah. So there's some ideas, of course, family and friends, and there's some people in my congregation who I'm friends with that I'm not going to just ghost for 3 months. But if it's in terms of work related, church related, hey, Pastor, when are we going to do the 80th celebration? I have a question about what's going to happen on that day. I'm not going to answer that message. Holly will. I'll answer that when I get back. I'll create a little list of things that I hope to do, and when I get back, and there'll be a little bit of prep, get back on an already moving kind of fast paced train. And but yeah, I have to answer some of those questions. I don't know the full history, but I do understand why some congregations would be like, we can't afford that. And some people may be a little resentful that like, hey, I worked as a line cook for 20 years and never got 3 months off. I got my vacation time. I got my Saturdays and Sundays off. But, in terms of like what that looks like for people, I think to be mindful, what's the nature of your job? Being on 24/7, and how do you take breaks and decompress and be inspired to keep going and doing what you're doing? Pastor burnout is a real thing, especially over post-COVID. People were just, churches were just losing their ministers because they just couldn't take it, of all the things that and personalities they have to navigate and shepherd and pull together. Coaches, get seasons off. There's a reason the NBA isn't a 365-day support. They have off seasons and on seasons, and for pastor, there's no pastor and priest. There are no really off season. There's lulls. There's times when things are more busier than others around holidays, but yeah.
So I mean, you're pretty much right out of the money. The sabbatical, as we know it, started in Harvard, of course, in the late 1800s, which is, I don't know, it's really cool because at the time, part of the point was like, hey, information is kind of hard to get. We're going to keep paying you. You need to go to Cambridge and learn new stuff, that kind of thing. So the point of a sabbatical is kind of still the same, especially academic sabbaticals. You are expected to further your research. So I don't know. It's really cool. It used to be a lot cooler, I think, when they'd be like, all right, you get 3 months off, go learn a bunch more stuff, come back, be a professor. And it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So, pretty cool. And was there something else? I don't recall. No, you answered it.
You're gonna ask him what he's doing on a sabbatical.
That is the next question.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were.
What do you plan to do this summer?
Yeah, there you go. It was funny that you asked. I in writing this grant application from our church body and governing body, the North Carolina Synod, they kind of lay out what I'm going to do, what I hope to do, and it's like rest. I have the papers right here. Here we go. Your favorite thing, Joshua. Papers. Boom.
This is why the mute button exists.
I know. Sorry. So major projects for this, major goals for this project or sabbatical: rest and renewal. So if I break this thing off into 3 months, if it's 3 months, each month, break it down each month. First month, I really do hope to have some rest, renewal, read books for pleasure, not necessarily preparing for a sermon or for education or the next big heady theological treatise. I'm going to read hey TJ, I'm going to read the Darth Bane Star Wars trilogy. Some books that I really have wanted to read, but I haven't had time, that have been on my list. I created a big book stack of reading for pleasure. I want to reread The Lord of the Rings all the way through. I haven't done that in a hot minute. So some of those things. There's some projects around my house that have been let go over the last couple of years. Either I'm too busy or dealing with family situations with my dad passing and all those kind of things. I haven't got around to do it. There's some long overdue stuff around the house, whether it's just cleaning out closets or organizing comic books or giving away too many t-shirts that I have there. Or something like that. So, and then the second month, I do want to do some traveling with my family. We're going to travel, go to Boston for the 4th of July. We have a friend that lives up there, so it's going to be really cool because it's the 250th anniversary of America, and to do that in Boston would be pretty cool. I have a book in me.
You should have a tea party.
That's dangerous these days. We'll see what happens. Maybe I have an IPA party. I mean, they got a lot of good beer out there.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. But yeah, I started working on a book, God is a Surfer, because of my love of surfing, love of theology, and I've led surf camps, and people have heard me all the time that God is a surfer is right there in the first 2 chapters of the Bible, and God's Spirit hovered over the waters. So what was God doing before creation or during creation? Surfing, and invites us to be along surfers with God in the sky or on lava or in the ocean. Those things happen. So I want to finish that book. I'm a good 50 pages in. I don't know if it'd be 100 pages or 200 pages, but I really want to spend time on a quiet, silent retreat without distractions, put the phone away and just sit down and finish that book, so that when there's a draft, I can send it to friends and have them read it. And then when I finish it, I can talk about it on the Whole Church podcast and Your Matter Matters and Systematic Ecology and Homebrew Christianity. And anyway,
all of it. Yeah. Do the whole
I was going to remind you, I do know how to read still. Allegedly.
I can't verify that.
Well, the jury's still out.
I do remember though, and I lost it again right when I said that. But that second month, you should come up. You should come to Greenville. Spend a
Hey,
day or two.
that's some of the stuff. The places that I've been meaning to do that I can't because of work and responsibilities, going to see friends, going to breweries, going to bookstores, that kind of stuff. Is I really have to do that.
We've got to go to the Southern Growl.
Yes, we do.
You've got pupils over here.
I do.
What's
do.
that?
It is it's a brewery. My internship supervisor, Pastor Rachel Connolly, her son is one of the brewmasters at the Southern Growl.
What?
Yeah,
I want to go.
Right there.
Yeah, send me a calendar invite. That's how friends hang out, right? Through Google Calendar.
So maybe in June we'll do that.
Yeah.
There is a wave pool surf park in Virginia Beach, an artificial wave that looks really really fun. I've surfed a wave pool before, but at Typhoon Lagoon, but it's not like wave pool technology has grown a lot since Typhoon.
It's gotten a lot better.
Got a lot better, and I hope to do that for a couple of days, and that will be fun. There, and then month 3, do some traveling. We want to go to Iceland. We want to go to France. We want to go to Spain. A couple things that we want to do with that. We have a neat family that's been worshiping at Holy Trinity over the last year. And he's a Lutheran pastor in Iceland, but he's taken a year sabbatical study leave to go to Duke Divinity School to study homiletics and preaching. And so they gave him a year to move to North Carolina to go to Duke for his sabbatical so he could learn to do continuing ed. And so he's moving back this summer. And he said, hey, we'd love to have you come to Iceland. I've been there before and would love to go back and let him show me around, some of his churches and camps and those kinds of things. So that's so rest, renewal, reading and writing and traveling, and 3 months will fly by for sure.
God, your last sabbatical, this is what it was. Your last sabbatical, I think, ended right before we started the show. This show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So here we are.
Wow.
We don't get one.
And I was on another podcast during the pandemic. We had to meet on his porch to have a conversation around faith and science. And Joshua's friend Mark heard that and said, you should talk to Will. And that's why we're having this conversation today. Because of that.
Yeah.
Funny how things work out.
Yeah, that was fun times. So, speaking of fun times, most of these probably aren't fun times, but that's how you do transitions. You say speaking of, and then whatever you just said. Biblically, there's a year of a Sabbath for Israel in the Torah. Every 7 years, they're supposed to give the land a year of rest. No more working the land. We got to let it chill, the land do its own thing, right? Also, just a good idea in general if you care about planet stuff, but whatever. And then every 7 years of Sabbath. So on the 50th year, they would have a year of Jubilee. And then also, more minute, each week you have the day of Sabbath at the end of the, or beginning of the week, end of the week. So lots of Sabbaths, lots of days, years, whatever of rest. The year of Jubilee, everybody goes free. All the debts are settled. There's a lot of this idea in the Torah about freedom, liberation, and just patterns of rest. So, Will, I want to know from you, a lot of Christian doctrine today, I think Lutherans typically agree. We're not under the old law. We're not under the Torah anymore. So how important do you think it is for us all to still remember patterns of rest now that we're not under that law?
Yeah, and it's as you think about Torah, think about law. Is it like laws where if you break them, you can be thrown in jail, or are they gifts to be seen as restorative ways to create healthy relationships to one another and your environment? So a lot of these, the law within the Torah, the 10 Commandments, are seen as literal gifts that bring life and help life be at its fullest. And so Sabbath isn't necessarily, I don't obey the law anymore under grace, I'm just going to ignore the Torah, but these are restorative practices to help the land rejuvenate, restore, heal, so that you can continue to be healthy. And I think with your own lives, having rest within your own vocations, having a time of rest and vacation and decompressing and unplugging and all those things helps you be a healthier person around. And so, of course, Earth would have that as well. So you can live in a healthy relationship with Earth. So if I don't see it as laws, like I'm no longer on the law anymore because, I'm free to do whatever I want, the kind of that Paul passage, but also seeing it not necessarily as a requirement, you're going to get in trouble or punished if you don't or do it. But if you're these are restorative, life-giving gifts, practices that will enrich the relationships you're a part of.
Yeah. Amen. Hallelujah. Also, he said doo-doo.
That makes Will today's biggest loser. So,
I'm so mature.
Do you think there is still an act of faith involved in trusting that God will care for the church while you're gone?
Oh man, that's such a good question. So yeah, part of my fear here at the church as a pastor, there's always someone I'm not paying enough attention to. Either they haven't let me know or someone's hurting. I don't know that. My biggest pastoral angst is, man, is no matter how many people I called today or checked in on or spoke with or prayed with, there's somebody who needs attention or needs help, and I just can't do it all. I'm not Christ. I'm a shepherd. I'm a shepherd of this flock, and then that micromanaging or thinking that it's all about me, and that if I don't do it, then nobody's going to do it. That ego can get really attached to your life and work when you're guiding and shepherding a community. So Sabbath is also a chance for me to walk away from the church for a little bit, to understand that, even if I'm not there on a Sunday, it's still going to worship. Even if I don't show up at my office, the building's still going to stand. You know what? People are still going to take care of each other. And it's also educating the congregation too, that like, just because I'm not around doesn't mean the church is going to fall down, that they can do things too. They can help take care of one another. The codependence, can kind of separate a little bit from that and teach one another that, yeah, the church can survive without me, and it can survive without me. I will survive without the church, and it will survive without me. And so that kind of relationship understanding will be fine. So I do think the fear is that, yeah, someone's going to pass away. Something's going to happen. I'm not there to fix it, or I'm not there to micromanage it, or I'm not there to control it. So yeah, part of how I coach, how I serve, how I shepherd, how I guide and lead my leadership. Some of the fear there is that something's going to happen without me there, or something. They're going to change everything. What if I get back and they no longer worship on Sundays at 11 o'clock? They worship on Saturdays at 5:23. And I'm gonna be like, what did you guys do? We thought it would be a good idea. So when you come back, so I don't think they're going to do major changes while I'm gone, but I do hope they learn how to live without me for a little while, so that we have a healthy relationship,
Yeah.
But if anyone at Holy Trinity is listening, I do want to make you aware, Sunday at 11 a.m. I'm working and cannot attend. Saturday at 5:23, that gives me almost exactly enough time that I could leave work Saturday and still make it to church. So there is that.
That is true. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Not really weird that you said those times.
So Joshua will change things while I'm on sabbatical.
I'm the one who's trying to advocate for
So I'm glad you talked about that the way that you did, because we were going to ask, like, do you think this is a good chance for your congregation to kind of live into the fact that they're not looking up to you, they're looking up to God?
Yeah. There is a sense of, I feel fully supported by my congregation, and I love them and they love me. And yet I don't want them to be so attached to me that they can't live their life without me. There will be a day, whether it's me passing away or retiring or taking another call, that this church hopefully will go on. We turn 80 in the fall. We turn 80 this summer as a congregation. That it'll survive another 80 years, and there'll be other people who come after me who shepherd this congregation. And so this I'm serving my time here the most faithful way I know how, and feel called to. But yeah, it's not about me. And it's about this congregation being a gifted congregation and a gift to its community here in Chapel Hill. And it will go on without me. So I hope if I'm doing my job right, they're not going to die when I leave or die. That would be awful. Right. So I do hope, that there's some of that. Now, there is also the danger of like do any kind of separation, or you're not around someone, you're like, oh, maybe we're better without that guy. I get back there like, we're ready for a change, Will. I don't think that's going to happen. It could be. Or I go away and I'm like, you know what? I could go away and be like, you know what? I don't feel called to Holy Trinity anymore. And this time has been nice. And I want to go, work a surf
in
school
Lancaster, South Carolina. Oh,
work a surf school in Costa Rica. Sorry. So, but there is part of our policy is that I'm required or recommended. They couldn't force me, but I'm encouraged to stay a full year after the sabbatical, that I'm not going off looking and interviewing at other places while I'm on sabbatical. When I get back, say, all right, y'all, I'm putting in my 2-week notice, that there's an agreement that I live into life of the congregation for at least a year after the sabbatical.
Which is polite.
Right.
Which is polite. This is
I
actually
did know
kickstarting Will's travel influencer career.
yeah.
My travel blog YouTube page, be like, hey, here's another waterfall, and then I go down, I turn around the corner, hey, look, guys, another one. I was like, golly, this is the most boring travel dude I've ever seen.
More than once at my work, I have had somebody realize they got 3 paid sick days, used those, and never came back. So, I like to stay a little bit longer after your breaks.
That's right. Quiet quitting or ghosting somebody happens in every profession.
And podcasts.
Even in podcasts and pastorships, all those kind of stuff. But in terms of, I've done, I think, good communication with my congregation of what a sabbatical is, what it isn't, what I hope to do and plan to do. And when I come back, I'm ready to, ready for a new fall semester, and we're going to keep the momentum going. We are a healthy, growing congregation in many and diverse ways, not just numbers, and we want to keep that going. And a way to do that is for me to get a clear vision of who I am, what my gifts are, what maybe my blind spots are. Read some books on towards the end of the sabbatical. I will pick up some theology books and leadership books and really kind of discern and think through and journal and reflect what I do well and what I could do better. And so what are some of my blind spots that I could do better as a pastor? It is ironic though, like after my last sabbatical, I came back and was like, you know what I really learned is that I'm a really good people person. I love people. So I'm going to really focus in on just like meeting one-on-one with people and meeting for coffees and beers and meals. And then like 3 weeks into me being back, my music director says, I'm leaving, I'm moving. I'm like, oh crap. And then here comes the pandemic. I'm like, oh crap. So I was thrown immediately into administrative tasks of creating a call committee and a search committee to look for a new church musician. And then here comes the pandemic. So I was derailed. But you find out what your gifts are, what you appreciate and what you want to do more of and what you long for. And I loved my time away in my last sabbatical, but I found towards the end of it that I was ready to get back because I missed people. I missed Sunday worship. I missed parts of my job that I couldn't wait to get back. And that's what hopefully this one will do too. And that's hopefully what a sabbatical will do for others out there too. So if there are churches out there listening or pastors that are listening, it's like, how could I ever do that? I'm not in Chapel Hill. I don't have the resources you have. My congregation would literally throw me out if I even suggested the thought of taking 3 months off, but the education isn't just 3 months off, 3 months vacation. It's this education piece of like, this is going to benefit y'all as much as it's going to benefit me, of this mutual relationship and ministry that we have together, me being energized and restful, and you all even discerning what life is like without this particular pastor and what you want to do as a congregation and do some discerning can really help you grow. You do some pruning, and then you do some gardening, and then you do some soil enrichment, and there you go. You're going to bear fruit for the Lord.
Yeah. I just real quick, I do want to say, like, a lot of times on our show we focus on like global church unity or between denominations, and like local unity is important too, especially between the laity and congregation. And this is like an example of that. Like, you need to have rest, or else it's easy for a pastor to start to kind of resent. Will would never say it. I don't know if he ever has, but like, it's easy. Like when you get burnt out and then it's the same people going to you over and over, sometimes you need a break. That's just relationship advice too.
100%. Yeah. And I think being honest is like, sometimes you're like, guys, I need a break. I need some time. I need to do that. And hopefully you're taking a couple of days a week off, just so you can decompress and get ready for the next week. And that doesn't always happen in this line of work and vocation. But yeah, that's what the goal is at the end. And I will say that if there's listeners out there, pastors out there who are like, how do I get my church, how do I convince my church to give me a sabbatical? Reach out to me, DM me, email me, contact Joshua. He knows how to get in touch with me. I'll give you my number. I'd be happy to do a little coaching and I think there's a way to frame it to your leadership and your board, your council, your deacons to say, to present that to them. And it's not just me saying I need a sabbatical, but we have a mutual ministry team that as a team, their job is to make sure that there's a mutual healthy relationship between me and the congregation. And so the sabbatical, this time for sabbatical, they were the first one to mention it and to write a newsletter article and say, this is what's happening and this is why we do it. It didn't come from me from the pulpit going, I need a sabbatical because you guys are burning me out. It is like, hey, comes from the laity and the church council and the governing body who are presenting the reasons why this is happening and go from there so people understand that thing. You present it the way, articulate it the way that is everyone's, is for everyone's benefit. So if there's anybody out there who needs help of how to do that and how to talk to your congregation about that, I'd be happy to chat with you and think with you about those things.
Yeah. Do you think they'd get mad if you turned around and attended Holy Trinity as a member for the next 3 months?
If what now? If I'm not there for leading worship, but I just show up on a Sunday morning and sitting in the pew, that would be weird. It would be weird. Yeah. I do hope though, like I'm still going to worship. Now the last pandemic or last time I had a sabbatical, it was, before the pandemic and before we did live streaming. So I really was away from the congregation, and did not know what they were doing on a Sunday morning. Now I can definitely stalk and eavesdrop and watch their YouTube page and see what they're doing or announcing on Sunday. There's a whole different reality for us, but I'm not going to even do that. I'll let them do their thing. I don't need to micromanage and see what they're doing. I'm sure if Pastor Katie has a question like, oh man, this happened. Sorry to bother you. Can you, what's the password to blah, blah, blah. I'll be like, cool, here you go. But I do hope last sabbatical, I did worship some friends' churches in the neighborhood and in our town that I don't get to hear my friend Clark or Kurt or Elizabeth preach on a Sunday because we're all doing our thing. So to go and attend and go worship at other places, different traditions to see what they do, and to enrich my own worship life too. So I'm not going to worship every Sunday. I will say that. I do acts of Sabbath and reading and prayer, but I may visit friends' churches and other churches just to see what people are up to. Not to compare and contrast, but to see what's going on in other worlds to see if I can learn anything new.
Meanwhile, I'll continue to pray without ceasing. But it's fine.
So in jobs like Joshua and I have, restaurant, there's a lot of collaboration involved in longer breaks where other managers, other stores even have to step in and help fill the gap that we leave. And for us, a long break is like anything longer than 7 days.
Longer than 1 day, honestly.
Yeah. Anything more than 2 days a week. You're trying to get more than your 2 days off? It's just kind of tough. But is there something similar in place for the church where other leaders or other local congregations chip in to help care for your congregation while you're gone?
Yeah. I mean, we started this conversation way back in January and kind of planning out with church council and our mutual ministry team and personnel team. And then meeting with Pastor Katie and Holly, our full-time staff, and our worship planning. Here's the list of, there's some things that people don't know that I do on a Sunday morning. Like I'm usually the one to go to the lectern mic and make sure it's turned on or unmuted. And so I can see the first Sunday where they start talking to the mic and wait a minute, there's no batteries in here. Doesn't someone usually do that? Oh, that was Pastor Will. He put batteries in the lectern mic every Sunday and just didn't tell anybody. That's just part of his Sunday routine. So keeping those little lists. There's people that I shut in members and home visits and communions that I normally do that I gave that list to Katie and so they looked at the whole summer and say what weeks are they on vacation that need extra help and someone on call in case they're on vacation and no one's around. So we've looked at the whole summer and done a lot of planning and forethought leading up to the summer. So it's not just like Will's gone. What do we do now? We've done a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And I think Joshua with Since My Geekology has done that too. When I said I'm not going to record unless there's breaking news with Star Wars, I need to hop on and give my hot 10-minute take on it. But I think, yeah, like you plan around someone not being around and hopefully fill the gaps of what they normally do.
Yeah. It's got a lot to do with my God moment too. Also, I can guarantee that my store is not getting changed this week. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Our sabbaticals, because it is offered at our restaurant. I think it's only for salaried managers. I'm not sure. Some people seem to think otherwise. I really doubt that this time, like a year and a half or a year from now, that I'm going to get a sabbatical. Seems really unlikely.
There's a few factors that determine it that I'll talk about later. That's not important right now. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. But even for us, when we do get that sabbatical, I'm pretty sure it's every 10 years, and it's 1 month. So,
yeah,
it's a little,
which is still insane. I can't imagine being gone for a month. What? Anyway, I can't imagine being gone 2 weeks. Just be wild. But, Will, I know you have to go, but there's one thing we do like to do every episode, just to ask for practical action that would help better engender Christian unity. And I'm going to go ahead and presume today's practical action and ask you what would happen if more of the church took the time to rest. Do you think it would help us have better church unity if we all just, not like sabbaticals, but everybody actually took some of these patterns of rest and weren't constantly going at it and constantly doing stuff? If we just took more time, how do you think that might help with church unity?
Yeah, I think we're tempted to try to keep pace with a world that's continuing to accelerate at breakneck speeds. And so I think sometimes to win the tug of war, you just let go of the rope, you're like, I'm not going to play this game anymore. And so I think the fear is if I don't play the game, if I don't keep up, then we're just going to be irrelevant and it's going to pass us by. And the church down the road is going to have the most, whatever you think you need. But I think since in the fabric of creation, Sabbath was a part of the original nature of the rhythms and the rhymes of the universe, then maybe our communities and church bodies and communities of faith should practice that too. So yeah, absolutely. I have not stopped for like 7 days, I feel like, and I'm feeling it right now. Like I am super tired, and so to get a good night's sleep, to curl up with a good book, to catch my breath, to do some reflection and interior work of why am I here, what am I doing, and all those kinds of things is really helpful for a healthy life and a healthy faith. And I think for churches, it is too. And you gotta do it, and you gotta hold each other accountable to it too, because it's so easy to get, as we talked about in the beginning of this, in the current and the rip current and the waves, it can get rough out there. And so sometimes you just gotta drop the rope, man. Drop the rope.
Yeah.
What changes in the world if everyone drops that rope and takes the time they need for themselves?
You're not competing against each other. You're not irritating each other. You're not biting each other's head off. You're seeing the other person as they're meant to be seen, as a beloved child of God and of value. And so if you value yourself and your own breath and your own rest, then hopefully you value the other person's too. And I think, yeah, maybe we'd all just need to chill a little bit, relax. That will help in terms of how we interact with each other. Short run, long run.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
stuff.
Before we wrap up, if you still have time, we like to ask everyone for their God moment. You know what it is. It's the God moment. Blessing, challenge, mode, worship, curse, whatever it may be. Always make Joshua go first and tell us where he's seen God in his life recently. Whatever the case may be.
Extremely on point. I asked for a few days off to go to Will's church. So I asked a few days off from my work so I could see Will and other people in Chapel Hill, and I had some stuff I wanted to do. This is a double God moment. I didn't do everything I wanted to do. Instead, it became a trip I almost didn't take, but I took really the stuff that was productive was almost like the side product, and the main goal became seeing my friends and remembering how important that is. And I need to go see TJ soon. So that's God moment one. In that also, So many people from other stores and stuff. Like we had some managers sick and different stuff happen at our store where like our store should not have functioned the last 3 days without me. But like my field leader, my boss's boss, like all kinds of people are like reaching out in group messages like, hey, Josh is supposed to have this time off. Can someone help? And just seeing how many people I've worked with at different stores step up and like, yeah, I'm going to do this for Josh to have some time off. It's just such a blessing. And I'm so excited to go back to work tomorrow. It's going to sound like that sounds weird, but I'm like, man, I'm going to make more guac than anybody has made on a Wednesday just to prove I can.
You had a 3-day sabbatical, man.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Imagine if you had 3 months. Imagine if you had 3 months, how pumped you would be.
I would go crazy.
I would get another job. I would have, by the end of that 3 months, I would have a second job, a fourth job, if you count this one and my business. I would have a fourth job by then.
Just for fun.
Just to do something.
Yeah.
For me, my God moment is recently very, very relevant. A store, the closest store to me, actually, had their apprentice pass away.
Dang.
And his funeral was my day off, and they reached out to me and they're like, hey, can you open our store so that we can go to his funeral? He was Catholic. That funeral lasted forever. So instead of opening the grill, being there for a couple of hours for the GM and everybody to get back, I was there for 8 hours. And I was glad to do it.
Doing the Lord's work, yeah.
Doing the Lord's work. That's why I don't like the verse we started with. It's very unPentecostal. I feel like it's anti-work. Not a fan. And,
listen, sometimes Jesus is rolling burritos, and sometimes he's hanging on a hammock,
this whole topic is very unPentecostal to me. But,
Yeah, Pentecostals don't have sabbaticals, I don't think.
No, never.
I don't think any of them
I've never
do, that I'm aware of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Will, God moment.
Yeah, oddly enough, I got to worship sitting beside Joshua Noel this past Sunday. So it was our Lutheran campus ministry Sunday. So our students in our campus ministry led all of worship, and then Pastor Katie presided at the sacrament of communion. So I was able to just sit in the pew and worship with the laity. And, I'm still working because I'm there and I'm interacting with people and talking about and leading some things. But to be able to sit in the pew and worship from a different standpoint from leading worship than just experiencing worship where the laity sit was very nice and very therapeutic. And sitting with Josh was cool. I think I was the one who was talking the most and like whispering to him while he was trying to worship, which is, kind of my jam anyway. But even like one of our students gave a homily, and it was very touching. And at the early service at 8:30, she was talking about how hard her semester was and the support that we've given them and her mom and to keep up the good work. And I looked over and I saw one of our members kind of wiping her eyes with little tears, like she was touched by it. And I was like, if I hadn't been sitting out in the pews and looked over, down the row, I would have never seen that. I would have had my back to her and just listening to Sylvie. So that was a neat experience.
Yeah. And if anyone from the campus is listening to this podcast and wondering who was giggling during the service that day, it was me and Will. And I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I'll say that I'm sorry to make you feel.
Dude, I've been getting in trouble for giggling in class or certain inappropriate moments my entire life.
It was great. We're literally talking about someone's Star Wars shirt.
Yeah, Devin. And Devin is in front of me with like a full-on Star Wars shirt with all the famous spaceships, and my mind is wondering like what I hope opens in the Mandalorian Grogu, and I'm leaning over Josh. Would it be cool if like he's like, shh, Will, stop.
I did not Will, for the record.
Like, Will, stop.
Yeah, I would. I was
laughing.
Yeah.
I was just so excited to see him. I just feel like I haven't seen any of my friends in so long. That was such a good trip for me. But
nice.
I already said that.
Didn't come here
yet. Wait, I went there more recently than I went to Chapel Hill before this weekend, I think. Because we watched a movie together at some point last year that I went there for.
That was Oppenheimer.
I didn't see Oppenheimer. I still have not seen that movie. It might have been Dune 2. I don't know.
It was Dune 2. That's worse.
I don't travel, apparently, except for to Disney and Cumberland Island.
Anyway. Please consider sharing this episode with a friend, share with an enemy, share with your cousins. Please.
especially your cousins.
And go to our website, purchase one of our t-shirts to promote our show. It helps us raise money for podcasting needs, and it helps teach others the importance of our mission to educate and unite the modern church, especially some of the fancier ones that I don't like to. I don't think
any of them. Any of them do. But the one I'm wearing right now is the Whole Church Trinity knot. I love it, and since it's using the Irish Trinity knot, green, nice green forest green shirts, awesome. Also, check out some of our other podcasts, including The Homily with Pastor Chill Will, hosted by Will Rose. Also, check out Your Matter Matters, co-hosted by Will Rose. Also, check out Systematic Ecology on the network, co-hosted by Pastor Will Rose. There's a lot of more Will Rose on the network.
I'm the first voice you hear if you pull up Systematic Ecology. That's me, folks. That's me.
Yeah. It's just it's the most soothing voice.
We hope you enjoyed this show. Coming up, we'll be interviewing Chantal Morales McKinney about her new book, Following Jesus Beyond Church Walls. And we'll be having another roundtable discussion on Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion. That's what we're talking about. Evangelism, mission work, and other means of outreach. After that, we plan to have a short break for a week or two. We're having our own sabbatical, not really. But then we're going to begin a series on the behind the scenes of ministries from the local church, the publishing office, whatever you can think of. We're going to get there. We're going to get down and dirty with it. So finally, at the end of season 1, allegedly, Francis Chan will be on the show.
Yeah, he doesn't know it though. So you guys do have to tell him. Maybe force him, twist his arm, kick him, whatever you got to do. Don't forget to give him the link though. Otherwise, you're just beating him up.
Yeah, don't assault him for no reason.